Pastor, doesn't science disprove the Bible?
Isn't Genesis just a fairy tale?
Is God for real? Did he really create everything in 6 literal days?
Didn't God just use the Big Bang?
Why is there death and suffering? Do you really believe the Bible?
Didn't man evolve from apes?
For answers to these questions and more, stand by for Believing the Bible.
Welcome to Believing the Bible. This is Scott Lane with Ed Salzadell, both directors at the San Antonio Bible-Based Science Association. We are here to reassure you can believe the Bible from the very first verse. Today we have a special guest. It is Paul E. Taylor, director at the Mount St. Helens Creation Center, along with his wife Jerry. If you want to get information on this Creation Center, we would ask that you go to mshcreationcenter.org. They are normally open 9 to 5, Monday through Saturday. Paul Taylor has spent 35 years of speaking on both creation and apologetics. He's taught science in the United Kingdom for 20 years, worked with Answers in Genesis and Creation Today. He's authored 9 books, among which were 6 Days of Genesis, The Itching Ears, and Don't Miss the Boat. He has 5 children, and they have 4 grandchildren. In 2005, he joined AIG in the UK office and was there for 6 years. 2011, moved to the U.S. with Creation Today in Pensacola, Florida, and now is directing at the Mount St. Helens Creation Center just outside Castle Rock, Washington. Anything I missed, Paul?
No, that's all there. The Creation Center is actually right in the center of Castle Rock.
Thank you for correcting me on that.
It's right in the center.
Thank you. I think is a good lead question to all this. For active creationists, this is an easy one, but for the general public, it's not. Why a museum near the Mount St. Helens volcano and the eruption site in 1980?
Yes, Mount St. Helens. Obviously, we know it erupted catastrophically in 1980, and there were a number of things that happened at the time of the major eruption and in periods of time subsequent to that, in the months subsequent to that, where the landscape of the Earth was changed around the volcano catastrophically. And so there are a number of those changes which are very analogous to what we think must have happened at the time of the worldwide flood. So that, for example, there was a landslide from the volcano which filled in a valley up to a depth of 600 feet on the day of the eruption. 2 years later, a hot mud flow came through that valley and it opened up certain areas. It carved a canyon out of that area. The canyon itself was very interesting, because it's a very sizable canyon, about 200 feet high, many places. Looks very similar in shape and style to the Grand Canyon, so it's like a scale model, 1/40 scale model. But it did not take millions of years to carve, it took just 9 hours. The canyon itself revealed that underneath there was a section of sedimentary layers that must have been formed on the day of the eruption. Those sedimentary layers, there's well over 200 layers, a stretch that's 25 feet high. Those layers did not take millions of years to form. They took 3 hours to form. So those are just 2 examples. There are lots of other examples, things that happened in a nearby lake called Spirit Lake, even down to the biological recovery of the entire area over the last 40 years, because scientists looked at the area and said, well, nothing can possibly grow here for at least 1,000 years. And 40 years later, I can take you into the middle of thick woodlands that were not there 40 years ago. So it's a very, very interesting place. See that changes happen fast. They do not take millions of years to happen.
Would it be safe to say that the place is one of the best examples we have of showing catastrophism versus old age uniformitarianism on the planet?
Well, there are a lot of places that show catastrophic formations, and, there's even other ones close by here. I like to take people into the Columbia Gorge. I like to take people to see the Dry Falls in eastern Washington. The point is, there aren't any eyewitnesses for those. We can work out what we know happened, how it happened catastrophically. What's unique about Mount St. Helens is you can see all these things on the ground. You can even walk to some of them, not all of them, and there are eyewitnesses. I have 2 recordings in the Creation Center from men who, both of whom were basically led to the Lord by the events surrounding the eruption. Obviously, there were people involved as well who were talking to them at the time, but it was very much a catalyst in their lives. So there are eyewitnesses around who remember the events, who saw these various formations. That's what's special about Mount St. Helens.
In perusing your website, I saw a number of interesting things I'd like you to expound upon. One is that y'all offer excursions. What are those?
Well, we take people out to look at the mountain. There are 3 approaches to the mountain. Our most popular approach is from the west side because the city of Castle Rock is situated on the west side of the volcano, and it's right on the interstate. It's a tiny city, just 2,000 people, but it's a very good place to start an excursion from. So we will take people in a sort of line of cars up the road, the 50 miles from Castle Rock up to the volcano, stopping at lots of places on the way to explain what happened in those areas and show how these things happened catastrophically. So that's bring up the mountain from the west side. It's very much the commercial side. You've got a number of public visitor centres along the way, state-owned and federally owned visitor centres which are of interest. But then it's also possible to go around the south side of the volcano where you can see evidence of another catastrophe that happened about 2,000 years ago. And on the east side of the volcano, which is extremely remote, it takes quite a while to get to, but it's very interesting because it's so remote, many things were not cleared up after the eruption. So you can see on the ground the raw effects of the eruption still. So those are the things that we do. And they're great fun. People enjoy those. We have visitors from all over the world coming and taking those excursions with us.
Excellent. You are listening to Believing the Bible. This is Scott Lane with Ed Salzadell. If you would like to learn more, go to sabsa.org. That is sabbsa.org. Today, again, we're talking with Paul Taylor from the Mount St. Helens Creation Center in Castle Rock, Washington. Again, reviewing your website, I saw something about a Roku channel. What's that about?
Well, we do have a number of videos, some of the talks that I've given, as well as for convenience, most of those are available through the Roku channel because I realise that very few people these days buy DVDs and things like that, so we wanted to make our products available in a different way. So that Roku channel, which is free to use, is there for that purpose. I constructed that for that purpose.
Good. How is that different from Awesome Science TV, which I also saw advertised on your website?
The Roku one is much smaller. The Mountain Helens one is much smaller. This is just things that I have produced, that I have created, and our podcasts here. It's therefore limited in what it does. We wanted to make our materials available here. Now, my friend Kyle Justice and Emily and a few others have created the Awesome Science TV, which is a subscription channel. It's far more professionally done than what I've got. I would recommend that people get a subscription to it because it very much is the Netflix of creator, and there's some absolutely wonderful, superb stuff there. So ours is like a little extra that you might find useful to be able to get some stuff. Although a couple of the talks that I have got there were actually filmed by Noah Justice, so there is a link. I do support strongly what Science Media do.
Good. I saw an advertisement in August for a Mount St. Helens Creation Adventure. How is that different from your normal excursions?
Okay, that's a different organization that are doing that. Twin Waters Bible Camp, Wisconsin, are doing that. Director there, Dennis Seiler, has wanted to produce this for a while, and I am involved with that. I'm one of the speakers and taking people on excursions. It is a 5-day adventure to the area where people can come and they'll hear some major creation speakers on the first day, and then there are a number of excursions then happening simultaneously over the next 4 days, so that people, if they want, can do that, and they will be able to get people on the west side. There will be an excursion. Dr. Keith Swenson taking people on the east side. Dr. Steve Austin is taking a hike into the Little Grand Canyon. He's one of the, as far as I'm aware, he's the only creationist I know who has the permission and authority to take people into the Little Grand Canyon. So those events happening. There is a website for that. We've got a link to it from our website so that you can get to it, or there is the Mountain Helens Creation Adventure website and book on that vacation. The whole event will be taking place in the Red Lion Hotel in Kelso, Washington, just 10 minutes down the road from where we are. And you will get a sort of crash course in everything that there is to know about the volcano and its relevance to biblical creationism.
Now, we only have a couple of minutes left. During that time, I want to highlight a couple of other things that are available in your ministry there. Y'all do have a bookstore, which seems to be well stocked. I noted that you do offer the devotionals from Search for the Truth Ministries, which I also offer. I think they're excellent. I also see that you have articles available on your website, podcasts, highlights of your speaking ministry, Apologetics 101, which is an online course. You have an emailed newsletter, which goes out to people, which our ministry does as well. And you have educational field trips for homeschoolers.
Yes.
Would you like to comment on any of these opportunities? It looks like there's a wide variety of things available at the center.
We're constantly trying to make literature available because it's not always possible to say everything I need to say in a one-hour talk, and so we try and back that up with literature. And probably two of the things that we're most pushing at the moment, my book on apologetics, which is called Only Believe, because I am very concerned that a large number of well-known apologists, Christian apologists, are actually defending the faith in a manner which I take to be unbiblical. So I would recommend people to try and look at that. Meanwhile, I'm in the middle of a large project where I'm writing an easy-to-read commentary on the whole of the book of Genesis. And there hasn't been a creationist-written, easy-to-read commentary on the whole of Genesis since Henry Morris's Genesis record in 1976. So it's well overdue. I've got the first volume of that available, covering chapters 1 through 9. The second volume, covering chapters 10 through 30, will be available shortly. I expect there to be a third volume then, covering chapters 31 through 50. So we want people to see Genesis as a whole book and to see it as foundational to their understanding of the whole Bible. And that's why we're trying to produce easy-to-read resources like that.
Thank you for telling us about that coming. We also thank you and your wife's efforts with running the Creation Center. It sounds like it has fantastic opportunities, and we are going to pray for your continued ministry. Thank you, sir.
God bless you. Thank you very much.
We recommend that you check out Terry Reed's book on his website at Why Should You Believe. You can get access to a whole range of Dr. Carl Williams' books on Christian historical fiction on Amazon.com. And we also recommend Scott Lane's new book, What If God Wrote the Bible, which is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and everywhere else. For more information or to schedule a presentation, go to sabsa.org. That is SABBSA.org, or call 210-599-7240. We will bring the presentation of your choice to your organization at a surprisingly low cost. When you go to our website, you can click on a link to our newsletters. Our website also has a link for contact information, and on which you can order our newsletter or contact us for more information. While on the website, check out the YouTube videos at the bottom of the homepage, as well as our links page connecting you to the best in creation websites around the world. Also, topics for future radio shows can be found on our calendar page. It costs hundreds of dollars to broadcast this show across the country. If you would like to help in this ministry, go to the contact page on our website and find the post office box where you can send donations. You may also want to visit whyshouldyoubelieve.com. That is Terry's website containing articles looking at current day issues from a biblical perspective. If you missed any part of this show, you can listen to this show anytime by going to our website homepage and clicking on Believing the Bible, SABSA on KSLR link. Please join us again next time for Believing the Bible. I'm Scott Lane, and for Terry Reed and Dr. Carl Williams, thanks for listening, and we hope you found today a reason to believe the Bible.